Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's get stuck in a bit of a nice early morning stream as per usual. Early bird catches the price action worm. So looking at Bitcoin on the daily, we've come down to the 10 exponential already today. So that's usually a place where you could consider a bounce. Yesterday it came down to the horizontal as well. So we've hit yesterday's support, today's support. We're hitting supports. There are supports lower than this if we have to try. But I said on the Telegram, and I'm not very vocal on the Telegram, to be honest. You know, it's just... I just, believe it or not, I'm really just not a big fan of social media. Sort of, where I'm from, you would say it blags my Swede, so it does my head in a bit. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I was on there a little bit yesterday, saying I think that we're getting close to the last opportunity to long, for the remainder of what you want to ever call this, the bull market cycle or whatever. That's what I think. I think we're getting close to the last long on cryptos, and but it will be a good one though still. So as you can see, this is Bitcoin trend signal still in play, coming down to supports. You either long here, you either long here. I took a long on Bitcoin yesterday. I've already got a long from 75 or 79,000 as well, but I took another one yesterday, a relatively high leverage position. So I'll see how that one runs. And other than that, you could come down to here and here, and maybe even the 50 exponential. But really, I don't think we should be coming down to these levels, although it wouldn't be the end of the world if we did do it. I'd be looking to hopefully get supported and remain above this area, the 120, because it is kind of a bit of a line in the sand. You had all these problems over here. You tested it yesterday as support, so that is a good look to see such a response, even though today so far is red. So I'm more inclined to believe that this is going to be the major support that takes us to the new all-time high. Look, I don't know where it will be, but we'll target to 130, maybe 135 to begin with. See where we go with that. So that's your Bitcoin scenario. Let's move over to the Ethereum scenario. Ethereum, again, is not too bad. We've moved down into a Bollinger Band itself. We've got a green portion of the cloud leading over here, which is green, which means you're getting ready now for a pump signal. All you need to do is get the price action above the cloud, so closure, candle body closing, above 4,555. Above all these, that's basically flat price action area here, isn't it, really? So as we're above all this, and above the cloud. So for me, 4,550 should do it. Get yourself a pump signal, get yourself above this sort of weird little horizontal line, and then you move up to the previous all-time high, I think, after that. Because you got a green, you got a leading portion of green. You got a cross inside the cloud, which is fine. Cheeky spends above the cloud. We're just waiting for the price action to get above the cloud, really. We're above the 20 moving average. We received support on that yesterday. Getting rejected on the 21 at the moment. So really, decision time on this one. If you start closing below 4,300, would get pretty tired. You'd probably be looking for around 4,001, maybe as deep as 3,009. But really, I'm not kind of looking for those much lower areas. Based on what we see for Bitcoin. We've got crypto stocks looking powerful, moving into the first major resistance here, around $21 for CleanSpark. The crypto stocks are having a great time without really showing any signs of weakness, I'd say. CleanSpark is about to hit a major support resistance, to be honest with you. But in the grand scheme of things, we're looking at a big major breakout, and possibly an enormous breakout all the way from this huge consolidation that took place in 2019, which is crazy. So yeah, there was your peak, and here's your lower high breakout. So it might be similar to an XRP scenario on this one. So I do have a futures position. I'm scaling out a little bit from the first target. It was around $20.90, but my pension stock is going to remain, because I'm not saying this is going to perform in the same way that XRP did, but this is the breakout now, and these are the breakout targets. So anyway, never mind about that. It's not something for you to buy now, certainly not. These things are already running, but I'm just highlighting that crypto stocks are having a great time and they're sort of not really slowing down. The one thing I was going to leave you with now was a view on the Dixie. So the Dixie is starting to really sort of bounce now. So what we should think about is where are we going to reject from, or are we going to reject at all? Moving over on the weekly, we're above the 20 and the 21. So that means that we're likely to now start moving into these death crosses, which are quite a bit higher, which means the dollar can definitely go higher. And it is going higher. The daily, we look at the daily, we're moving into death crosses as well. So 100.2, 101.3, all of those definitely feasible targets. Not today, but over the next few weeks. And I know that we're moving into a rate cut sort of period. We've already had one. Why is the dollar moving up? Well, I think that markets generally price everything in. And all of this stuff has been priced in, but the thing to reflect on is that yes, the dollar is moving up, and as a response, things are moving down. These things do happen, but the dollar, respectively, is still very low, and things don't go up forever. They twiddle around, don't they? They go up, they go down, up and down, 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 and up and down. They move all over the place, but the dollar is still low. And so I would expect that assets can still trade high for a little longer. But you know what I always say? One of my many boring catchphrases. If the model fits, stick with the model. I know. Models eventually do break. Everything breaks. Nothing is here to stay forever. But for the moment, the model fits. So we'll stick with the model until we see it break down. And if it does break down, then we move into different targets and we start looking at areas that we can then assume a bottom from the Dixie. I mean, we have said for what feels like a million years that we would come down to this trend line. So when you come down to the trend line, obviously it would be interesting to see it break. But it is a trend line that's been going on since 2011. And here we are, found ourselves at it, and that is it. So, but if we do break it, and again, there is some signs that we might, then yeah, we will then try and capitalise on the fact that it has broken. But for the moment, it has not broken. For the moment, it has done a double bottom, similar to how it did back in 2021. I think this is likely to happen. But I wouldn't get too worried about it happening, overnight. It's likely to take over a year, 18 months, maybe 2 years to happen, which is why you should never worry about taking profit and sitting in dollars. I really can't stress it enough. We all get upset when we take profit and then the asset continues to go up. What we should do is say, I took profit, I made money. I'm better than the majority out there because I can't do that. In fact, I'm quite a lot better because I do this for a living. But still, the dollar itself, in a situation like this, over a longer period of time, it's not just a safe place to be allocated in. It's actually a trade in itself. Because if we do end up moving from the bottom of the trend line, let's just say we come down to revisit it, and we do move up to the top of the trend line, your safe haven, happy in cash situation, might even appreciate generally by 25%. Well, that's unless you're American and you basically need your dollars. But for me, over here in boring old England, then yeah, at the moment the dollar is very low compared to the pound. Pound is ripping up high. So if I were to allocate myself into dollars at this stage now, sit into those dollars and then transfer them into pounds, as and when needed, it's still a win, isn't it, for me? If it works out this way. Anyway, that was a boring part of the video, so I'm going to leave it with you there. Long story short, doesn't look particularly amazing right now for Bitcoin and crypto, not this very second in time, but we are still in bullish territory for Bitcoin and Ethereum. They are still bullish charts on the daily and on the weekly, so the high term time frames still point to one direction. And if I had to call it on the dollar, in the very, very, very short term, I'd be looking for this one to have a little consolidation, maybe today, which should allow for the markets to grow green, inverse to what they were looking like yesterday. Anyway, I'll leave it there. There's nothing else to say. If you want to join the Patreon, we're doing a stream on Sunday. We can look at all your favourite altcoins and all my least favourite ones too. And other than that, hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.